Boys, how you doing? It's good to have you on the podcast, mate.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for asking me to be on.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, we basically connected through, a friend of ours, didn't we? And, you kind of know my dad as well and kind of go way back.
Yeah. Obviously you've asked me to come on and talk about my journey through my martial arts and health and fitness and well-being and, that sort of stuff. I mean, starting off with the martial arts. When I grew up in the early 70s and there was loads of martial arts films out and stuff like that, but not just that. Being sort of a young kid with a big massive afro and stuff like that, I think initially my mum was sort of like, and sort of being the only sort of, person of colour at my school as well, just for sort of self-protection, a bit of self-defence. My mum decided to send me to karate, and that's where it kind of, all began. So started off sort of doing karate, from 5 years old. Then when I was around about 9, ended up getting into kung fu for a couple of years, animal kung fu for a couple of years. Then we've moved because throughout my lifetime, especially as a child, we've moved about quite a bit. So I moved, ended up getting into boxing, amateur boxing. Used to love amateur boxing. Didn't really feel the draw to get back, the draw back into martial arts. It was a friend who sort of like pestered me to come down to sort of do kickboxing, and then really got into that. And alongside that, because I've always been into sort of fitness, I used to do cross country as well. I was the Nottingham cross country champion. Used to be third in the UK, whatever in Europe. Used to love my running as well. Yeah. Doing the the kickboxing. Then moved into Thai boxing. Stuck with that, and so the majority of all the martial arts that I did up until that point had all been sort of like striking martial arts, and then ended up sort of like getting into Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. Trained up to my brown belt. Well, done my brown belt second tag. Got up to sort of my black belt. Then ended up sort of changing from there, getting into wrestling, learning about sort of like Greek Greco-Roman wrestling and freestyle wrestling.
Wow.
And sort of like from there went into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A friend of mine had a gym. Initially, I used to just go down there, train, do a few hours. He had a instructor that was leaving, kickboxing instructor that was leaving, and asked me to kind of to cover the class. Started doing that. Then there was another kickboxing class that started up, and then he asked me to do MMA. And I didn't really know a lot about it at that point, but I did loads of different martial arts, in the past. And at the end of all my classes, I used to always show the guys, a bit of grappling or, a choke or a lot that they could add on to, the kickboxing that I was teaching at the time. So ended up starting me own mixed martial arts club. Used to take 2 of my younger sons with me, and they still train today. They still train in mixed martial arts today. And basically done that for about 10 years. And then after that, not that on the air, basically wanted to get more into fitness and stuff like that. I'd worked in sort of housing and social care for about, 16 years or so. Been a civil servant before that. But I'd always been passionate about sort of fitness and, training, that sort of stuff. That pushed me to, had this opportunity of redundancy. So I could either take my redundancy. I worked at a company called Framework in Nottingham for about 11 years. So I could either take this redundancy money, or I could take a lower position within the company, but it meant a real big kind of wage cut. And what I decided to do, because the thing with that sort of work as well is it's very stressful. You know, you end up sort of like, unless you're totally heartless, sometimes you bring some of those person's problems, home, or you're thinking about them, or
Yeah,
do you know
yeah,
what I mean? It's not, you kind of thought, it's not one of those jobs where it's 9 to 5, and at 5 o'clock you can sort of say, right, see you later. If someone's in the middle of a crisis or whatever, you got to say, oh, sorry, I've done my hours today. Deal with it on your own now, and sort of like walk out the door. So it's kind of stressful job. So I thought, why not get into something that I really enjoy, learn more about it, and see what I can do with that. So it meant going back to school. So I went along. Initially, didn't have no sort of qualifications within the sports. I've been a gym instructor briefly when I was around about 19, when I was at college, doing the A levels, and went there, did a level 2. It says, oh, basically you're gonna have to do a level 3, but to do the level 3, you got to do a level 2. So I did a level 2 in exercise and gym instruction. Then went on and did my level 3 as part of my entry into university, because even though I had stuff that was level 3, I had nothing that was sports specific. So you needed something sports specific, and you needed your GCSE, level 3, and you needed a GCSE in maths and English at C and above. And with me, basically, I mean, I've got a BTEC National Diploma in Science from when I was younger. Yeah. I've got 4 A levels. I've got 2 in maths, one in pure and applied, one in pure and stats. I've got an A level in chemistry, A level in physics as well, which are all level 3. And then through the housing and all that sort of work, I've got an MVQ level 3 in advice, information, and guidance, but just nothing sports related. Yeah. So I ended up doing a level 3 PT course, and my GCSEs as well, because if I didn't know this until obviously I tried to get into university. Yeah. If you did any qualifications that were before the year 2000, they're not on no computer system.
Oh wow.
So academically, if you want to go and you need certain GCSE grades, you'd have to go. You've got to go and resit those examinations again.
Oh wow!
Because they've got no record of them. Because they don't keep no paper records anymore. So did that. Then decided to do my degree in sports and exercise science, and then did a top up. Did another year and did my my sports studies. Finished that at the back sort of in July, and then I've kind of had a bit of a break, and now I'm job hunting, even though I'm still kind of working for myself, self-employed, doing PTing and doing coaching with the mixed martial arts, or for whatever the individual client wants. So that's been it. I mean, I've whoops. Are you still there?
Yeah,
So I'm really glad that I've stuck with doing the martial arts all the way through. So it's 42 years. Obviously I'm 47 now. 48 next, and it's kept me in good shape. The mental discipline of it. It's definitely a good habit to form, because it's okay being, the way I see it, inspiration, for example, is like a flash in the pan. If you're inspired to do something, you can do it, and it soon kind of fizzles out. Yeah. Even the same with motivation. Motivation normally can only, in my opinion, last so long. It's getting into the habit of it. And once you make something a habit, there's no thought to it. There's no, I've got to make the effort. The effort doesn't matter, because you're an automatic pilot. So you will get up, you will practice your techniques, you will, go for a run, you will do some press-ups, do some sit-ups, whatever. You will do those stuff without even, it's not an effort. It's not, oh God, I've got to I've got to do that. You'll do it without sort of, thinking about it. So I think, that's one thing that will that I'll take away from it. That it's got you, it's a good habit it gets you into that habit of wanting to keep, yourself in shape. And I think initially it's a good confidence builder. Excellent confidence builder. And obviously confidence in itself can launch you into, get you the girl you want, the job you want, meeting friends, being able to handle situations, better because you've got that confidence, about you. You haven't got no insecurities. You haven't got no, worries. You're not worried about somebody punching you in the face. You've probably been punched in the face thousands of times. And it's like, it's just like drinking a cup of tea. You don't want to be, you don't want to be scared of drinking a cup of tea, are you? If you're a tea drinker anyway, you know what I mean? Or drinking some water. So it's like, you kind of become climatized to a certain situation, to certain situations. So you've got no fear of those situations anymore as well. But yeah, for me, I can name so many different positives. Also the mental stimulation of continually having to learn stuff. And one thing I love is the grappling and the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu techniques. They're so technical, so technical. So that's sort of like mentally keeping you going, being able to remember those techniques. Because the thing is, with a lot of those techniques, it's those little intricate details that really matter. So if you just rush through it and you're not paying attention, or you're not doing, certain things, just one piece right, then the whole of the technique kind of will not work. It'll fall apart. So definitely a lot of positives you can take from it. But I think life as a professional martial artist is very tough. I mean, being a gym owner, I think that can be extremely difficult because you seem to get these waves of people who will come in, they're enthusiastic for a few months, and then they'll drop off. Because what a lot of people don't realise is how much hard work it is. Do you know what I mean? They come in sort of like underestimating how much grit, how much determination, how much it takes to. Do you know what I mean? To do it, to keep up,
to keep that consistency with it.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, really, Adam. That's what it's about. It's consistency. It's consistency, and in my experience, there's very, 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 very few people who have got that right sort of like mentality to be able to. Do you know what I mean? Who know and who've got what it takes to, to progress in it. But I suppose it all depends on what you're doing it for.
Yeah.
People do this stuff for all sorts of different reasons. People do it to, like we mentioned earlier, to build self-confidence. Some people just do it for fun and just to keep fit. If like with me at my age, I mean, I'm not thinking about doing it competitively at 47 years old, but it's something that, will keep me physically and mentally stimulated. And then also, it's all the stuff you have to do, in terms of how serious you are. Along with that, the nutrition for one. I mean, nutrition and supplementation. You could say that's a high that can be quite a high percentage of your success rate, and also your mentality. The right sort of psychology, or the right sort of like psychological help and advice on hand for when you need it, for dealing with with anxiety, or almost like with stage fright almost. You can see people who I've trained, or even people who have gone in there and competed with me in the gym. They're amazing. They're looking like superstars. But as soon as there's an audience, as soon as there's an audience there, or they're in an arena or whatever, it's like they forget everything they've learned and everything they've been, training. But depending on who you've got around you, sport now, a big thing now is like sports psychology, getting a good sports psychologist in there to help the athlete to be able to deal with those sorts of situations.
Yeah, no, massively. And I think like what you're saying as well, like, that it's good that you're passionate about it and that it's, helped you in, a lot of ways. And like you said, with fitness, a lot of it is nutrition as well. And I think people kind of forget that, or they don't really understand that it is what you eat, how, what you drink, and that mentality aside with it. And it's all kind of interlinked, isn't it? Like your nutrition, your mentality, your, the fitness.
Exactly. So in other words, what do you think that means? It means it's a lifestyle. You can't just dip, you can't just dip your toe in and expect to get the full benefits. Imagine it's a fountain of youth. Imagine it's a fountain. If you visualize this, it's a fountain of youth, yeah? Right? There's a fountain of youth there, right in front of me and you, yeah? But to get the full benefits, you've got to dip your head all the way and submerge yourself, come out and chill in that pool, yeah? If you just put your little toe in, that's the amount of benefit you're going to get. It has to be the whole way. The more you throw yourself into that, and the more you live like that, the less effort it is. Yeah. If you're going out and you're buying healthy stuff to put in your body, and that's what you eat, and you get used to that, it's not an effort to go, I must buy this particular food to make me healthy. Yeah. And it's like, same with the fitness. Even one of the stuff that used to advise people when I used to be a PT, there's ways you can almost sneak physical activity into your lifestyle without even realizing it. If you wanted to increase your step, say you're one of these people with a pedometer, I want to increase my step count. There's little things you could do. For example, if you start parking your car park at the far end, at the car park, rather than right as close to the doors as you can get. You just do that, that might be an extra 500 meters. Yeah. If you turn around to yourself and you go, right, anything under half a mile, I'm going to walk from now on. Do you know what I mean? It might take you 2 minutes longer. Wow, you've lost 2 minutes today, but you've got a little bit fitter by being a bit more active. Yeah, you're dipping your toe, you're getting further and further into that fountain of youth idea that we've just been, visualizing and talking about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it's bits like that, just little changes. I mean, and I think the best way to make these sort of transitions as well is making these little changes bit by bit, because what the research says is if you try and make a total 360 turn and sort of like go, right, from today or from tomorrow I'm doing A, B and C, I'm going so many miles running, eating so much food, eating a certain type of food or whatever. You're trying to make a big change like that. Normally after 12 weeks, probably 6 months top, you'll be back. Most people will be back to square one. Yeah. Really? So what you've got to do, or what the research says, so it's not me saying it, it's not me just giving you some bro advice. This is what the research is telling us is that if you make those changes gradually, and also by making them changes gradually, they're almost it's almost, you're not even consciously thinking that these changes are even taken, because it's that minuscule, that small, they're not even registering. Because say, like, for example, you eat a lot of white bread. Yeah, white bread is probably worse than sugar. It metabolizes quicker than probably sugar. White bread does. Yeah. So by having whole grain wheat, maybe even stuff with seeds, the more natural a state of food is in, the more better it's going to be for you. Yeah. As a general sort of like rule of thumb, without going into masses and masses of detail, you know.
Mm.
If you just made that small change, there's one small change that's going to help you be a little bit more healthier. We've mentioned parking your car a little bit further away.
Mm.
There's all these little things you can do. And if you just done one of them things every week, by the time a year's gone by, without you even noticing, you've probably made an absolutely massive change. Someone who's someone you haven't seen for a year sees you again, they're like, because they usually, right, I'll do 10 press-ups every morning, which is nothing, is it? Yeah, and maybe 10 sit-ups every morning. I'll change my bread. I'll do this. You know, you're making little bits along the way. Before you know it, you could do a little morning routine of exercise that will probably take you 5 minutes, do your whole body, and you're ready to go for the day. Yeah. And then anything else you're doing on top is a bonus. It's, you know, if you start off with one of those things, 10 sit-ups not even going to take a minute, is it? No. So there you go. This week I started doing 10 sit-ups every day. It's no. Just get up. Yeah, I've done 10. Boom. I'm on my way. I mean, you could put the kettle on, do 10 sit-ups, and you know you're still waiting for the kettle to boil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, hey, hang on here. So before you know it, you could probably do that one week, then add something else on, then maybe increase the numbers. Before you know it, you're putting the kettle on, doing a little mini workout, having your cuppa. You're on your. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're cramming these little bits in, and it's a small change. Yeah. And then you'll notice as you get fitter, as the stuff gets easier, you'll probably want something more to challenge yourself. Then before you know it, you're in shape. You go, oh, you know what? I might actually go to the gym now, or I might do this, or you know, get into what I might play a bit of football for, you know, or whatever. But it's those small little. Do you know what I mean? Small little changes along the way. If you go, right, I'm going to start doing so many hours every day now. I'm going to totally switch my diet up. I'm having 5 protein shakes a day. It's not going to last. It's not going to last. You know, the best way for longevity, you see, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about longevity. We're talking about making this U-turn and, you know, going from where you are to where you want to be and making it your lifestyle. Like, this is how I live, you know. So I'm going to do it for 3 months, get myself in shape, and then I can't be doing it no more and go back. Because this is the one thing as well. You can't store fitness. You can't store health. You can't like say, right, I'm going to put 3 months in the bank and that's going to last now for a year.
Yeah.
You know, this is going all the way full circle back to what you said, you know, 10 minutes ago, consistency. Yeah. You need to be consistent, even if it's a tiny bit what you're doing, be consistent with it. And if you get into a habit of it, it's your habit. It's like waking up, splashing some water on your face, brushing your teeth. You don't even think about it. It's just something that you do on automatic pilot. And that's what you want everything you're doing to be, because then it's not an effort. It's nothing. It's just like, well, this is what I do. You know, like we mentioned with the kettle thing, if you go to the habit of every morning you do that, bosh, 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 you know, you know, you're not gonna, it'll just be like, oh, I do that every morning. Don't even think about it. It's like not even 5 minutes of your day is gone. You know what I mean? It's like, well, it's no, but that little bit's gonna start making a difference. And in a couple of weeks, and what you'll normally notice in a few weeks' time, when it starts to, you start looking at yourself going, actually, I'm physically noticing a bit of a difference. That might even spur you on to go, you know what, I'm going to do a little bit more.
Yeah.
Noticing the changes on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you do a little bit with your diet at the same time, and before you know it, you know, you're living a lot more of a healthier lifestyle. But the benefit as well for your mental health, for, you know, depression, for anxiety, all sorts of, you know, mental health disorders. I mean, even when it comes down to addiction as well, you know, fitness and, you know, health and well-being, it's brilliant. I used to work as a drug worker, and what I ended up doing is setting up a thing where we all started playing five-a-side football. And through that, other addicts got to meet other addicts, and started to help each other, and how long you been clean, and this and that and the other. Then I got them all into the gym, and some of them started going to the gym after a few weeks, noticing stuff because these are people they've packed in. They've been like this, for years, like just skinny, because obviously been on heroin
Yeah.
and whatever else, and then started doing this football, started going to the gym, started like eating normally, started seeing a bit of weight on them and a bit of shape, and that gave them more encouragement and more motivation to carry on. So these things I'm saying, I've seen them work, I've seen them in action, but getting the funding for projects like that is can sometimes be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, a bit difficult.
So you've got the funding there, and then also just getting people to take it on board. Very easy to get into a comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's very easy. If there's a lot of the time, I think us as human beings, we can be quite lazy, and we like being comfortable, which is no good for our health. It's no good for us. You know what I mean? It really isn't no good for us. But most, like, if you're living a certain lifestyle, unless you've got a major health issue, where you're talking about life and death, most people won't make those changes that they need to make. And even sometimes when it is life and death, that it increases the number of people who probably will take up exercise or will do something about it. But on the whole, you still got a good percentage of people who won't sort of like make those changes to try and help themselves. I mean, an example of that would be type 2 diabetes. Yeah. Type 2, certain types of type 2 diabetes is reversible through a change in lifestyle. So if you become more active, you cut down on the amount of sugars that you have, then basically you could reverse it and get in effect, send it into remission and get rid of it. And the amount of millions of people who suffer with that is ridiculous. I mean, don't get me wrong. As you get older, your increases, even if you live in a fairly decent lifestyle, your chances are still increased that you could develop that. But what I'm saying is, it's possible to send it into remission. Do you know what I mean? Through a change in diet and through being more physically active.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think like human beings, we've got the power, excuse me, to make decisions and change the way that we live, change the way that we think. And like you said, it's like those small changes kind of like have that kind of domino effect and just kind of builds. And what you were saying earlier about working out and it just becoming a habit and just becoming like natural. It's like throughout lockdown, I just started just doing press ups and weights and things like that. And then somebody spoke to me about, I don't know if you heard of it, called like the compound interest. So it's like the compound effect. So like a small 1% of doing something, like you said, let's say do 10 press ups for a week, and then you build it up to 15, then you build up to 20. It just kind of builds, doesn't it? I think with fitness, there's so many benefits to it. And like you said earlier, dipping your toe in the water, and you're going to get like certain little effects and benefits. But if you submerge yourself into it, and it just becomes natural, and you're almost not thinking about it. And I think it's nice that what you said earlier, that you did a 5-a-side thing with these guys, and they met and they socialized, and they they could see the improvements in themselves. It just shows you how powerful fitness is, and how people can change and develop through it.
Oh God, yeah, massively. massively. I mean, there was a young lad who used to come to the MMA classes, and with him, I got a message that his dad wanted to see me. And I thought, oh God, I bet it's because I'm always, telling him off in class and saying, oh, I'm, shouting and raving at him, blah, blah, blah. He's told his dad. His dad's like, right, told my dad that. And I went down there and I didn't know what to expect. I was almost expected to, what are you doing having to go at my son? Anyway, he wanted to say, oh God, I just want to thank you. And I was like, why, what for? I said, ever since he's, started here, all the teachers have been giving him praise, says his behaviour is a lot better. We've noticed his behaviour is a lot better. He's really enjoying it. I'm just wanting to say, keep up the good work. And, nice one. Even though it was quite funny, like I said, I was expecting him to be raving and shouting, but it made such a change in his behaviour. And what I didn't realise as well when he was coming, apparently he had ADHD, and I had no clue about him having that. But the feedback from his parents and the feedback that they were getting as well from school was that it made a massive effect on his behaviour, and improved it, made him pay more attention in class. And what is it? Attention deficit disorder. So if anything, he's always fidgeting, he's always doing this. By getting into the training, and I don't know whether or not it's just because it was tiring him out or what, but it basically improved his behaviour sort of all round. So yeah, like you said, it is a powerful thing. I mean, what the sad thing is though, is the poorer you are, the less likely you are to basically maintain or keep fitness, or or lead an active lifestyle. So normally it's like, if you put the poorer you are, the worse your lifestyle is going to be, the worse your diet's going to be, the worse your physical activity and stuff like that's going to be. So there's a massive correlation with that. And also, interestingly enough, just going slightly off on a tangent,
No, that's fine.
There's also a correlation with the amount of television that people watch, and the amount they're active, and their IQ, and economic, social economic status of where they are. So yeah, it's pretty sad. And I think to a certain point, I think it does come down to finances. I think it's easier to live a healthier lifestyle, if you're basically more well off. You've got, you're more financially better off. You've got more financial stability. Basically, cognitively, you've got so much juice in the tank every day. By the way, I'm putting this in like layman's terms without getting too scientific. You've got so much sort of like, imagine you've got so much juice in the tank, mentally every day, or so many coins or whatever to spend on thinking about different stuff. If you're in a low social economic class, you haven't got much money, in other words. So when you go to the shop, you've got to put more thought into what you're doing, because you're going to be there thinking, right, I've only got so many pennies or so many pounds to be spending, and I've got to feed my kids, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Say you've got somebody who benefits, that's actually quite mentally, they're going to be worrying about paying bills, this, that, and the other. That's actually quite mentally taxing. So they're going to use a lot of their, energy, call it mental energy, doing that. If you haven't got to worry about that, then one, without the worry, you've got more coins in there because it's less thought that you're having to put on those sort of like areas of your life. Same again, when you walk into that shop, you could make healthier choices as well, because you've got more thinking power. In other words, you've got more ability to be able to think about it because you're not so stressed out. What happens to us whenever we get stressed out, whenever we get angry, the prefrontal cortex, gets less, becomes less effective. And obviously the prefrontal cortex is our higher developed brain. It's the last part of the brain that develops between the ages of sort of like 25 to 30. So by the time most people are sort of 25-ish, yeah, their prefrontal cortex will be developed, and they're classed as like a full, in biological terms, a fully sort of, grown kind of adult. When you're stressed out, that part of the brain tends to, like I say, become less and less and less and less effective. The more stressed you are on a sliding scale, the more you're able to think logically, creatively, You know what I mean? All those things dwindle because you're stressed. Yeah, because you've got that financial pressure on you. And then also, I think there's the financial ability to be able to pay for your fitness, pay for the better nutrition. You can buy better quality food when you're more financially better off. You can hire a personal trainer. You can buy your own gym and have it at home. There's a lot more opportunities available to you if if you're more well off. You're in a higher socioeconomic class. Definitely all the way through.
Yeah.
So you've got to. There's a lot to be taken into consideration, and then obviously you've got the fight between all these big manufacturers, that produces food that isn't really that healthy for us, buying up all the advertising space and stuff like that, and sort of natural foods. They can't compete with that. And also, this is boring. With all the razzmatazz on the packet and the advertising and that sort of stuff, and there's some plain boring vegetables, and just it can't compete. And also, like I say, the psychology and everything else put behind those adverts. They've been created in a specific way to appeal to. They've got the intention behind every word, every image you're seeing, to have a certain psychological effect to make you buy whatever the product is. So the odds are really stacked against you. I mean, we did a thing where we drove down a high street going from where most of these kids from school, right, back to their homes on an estate, and we counted 14 takeaway shops from the school to where they had to go home. Wow. 14. So if you're a parent and you're going to pick them kids up from school and you're driving home, or even if you're going to work and you're going back to this estate, we thought, right, this is the only road to get there. They've got to go past, all these takeaway shops. Yeah. How easy is it going to be for any of them parents or anyone coming back from work just to go, I'll have that instead?
Yeah.
From super high calorie, rubbish. It's going to be, it's that temptation's here.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's going to save you all that cooking, all this, all that, all the other. But the other thing is, once you've done that, most of them people, when they get back, they're not being active. They're just going to get back, eat the food, slump in front of the TV. That's them done. That's it.
And the thing is, once you sit down, that level of motivation of actually doing something decreases because you feel relaxed. Once they sit
I didn't get
down.
that. I was a bit crackly.
Once they sit down, that kind of level of motivation of doing something decreases because they sit down, they've eaten something, and they relax, and the chances of them doing something, working out or something just diminishes.
Yeah. One, I mean, you've got to have something planned. If you've got something planned, that might be something different. And then to increase your chances even more, if it's with somebody, if it's with a friend or another person, your chances are increased again. There's some sort of social facilitation going off there. So if you had a buddy, who wanted to train with you. Say I live around the corner from you, Adam, and you arrange with me or I arrange with you to go and do something, you're more likely to do it because you've arranged to do it with somebody than you are on your own. If you I'm not saying you've got me on my own.
Yeah.
You say you on your own because you've got no willpower. Or even me on my own. But do you know? So again, I'm not just pulling this out of fresh. The research said they did an experiment with groups of walkers. Yeah.
Right.
And they looked at them doing it on people doing it on their own and people doing it within a walking group. And the people who did it within the walking group maintained it longer than the people who were doing it on their own as individuals. And it was that company. It was you've arranged to do with somebody, so you didn't want to let them down, and that's so straight away it increases. So as someone who's into sports, that bit of psychology, you can take that and you can apply that in the real world. So if I know if I want to get, it's like when I said, and I've gone about the substance misusers. I know the chances of them coming along will increase because it's not just me taking them and doing something with them on my own. They're doing it with a group. They're arranging to do it with other people. Yeah. There's that contact, there's that building up of camaraderie. But if you're doing it if you arrange to do something with somebody else, or there's going to be other people there, that increases the chances. But so does having the confidence that you're going to be able to do what it is you're being asked to do. Yeah. If you were, say, going to a basketball match, going with a group of guys to play some basketball, been invited to play some basketball, right? And you think, oh God, you're not very confident about your ability to play. God, I'm rubbish at it. I don't think you're going to be able to learn it. The chances of you sticking with it would go down again. But if you go, I'll give it a go. I'm not bad. I can remember playing a little bit. Your chances of going, and maintaining that and maybe putting that into your lifestyle is going to go up. So stuff like that. If you're talking with somebody about what they wanted to get into and you talk about something they enjoy. Because if it's something they enjoy or they've got confidence, they're not bad, they're good at. I said to you, or one of your friends said, right, do you want to start getting into doing a bit of football? Like, yeah, I'm actually quite decent at football. I used to play at school. The chances are going to be right up there that that's something that you're going to keep up. It's something you're confident at, you're good at, you think you could improve at. You've got a body who you're going to be going with. And like I said, if you've got somebody there, oh yeah, and you get on with you're having a laugh, straight away, your chances are going right up that this is going to be something that you're going to be able to take. If I'm working with you, I thought, yeah, this is going to be good for Adam because I know it's ticking all these boxes psychologically that are indicators of increasing your adherence to that sort of lifestyle. That's do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course. I think I agree. And I think I remember when I lived in Nottingham, I go to the park with friends and we play basketball, we play football. And because it was a group and other people were going to be there and that social side to it, you're more likely to go. But I think when you see yourself kind of growing, if people lack confidence, socially, and they're doing a physical thing and they know they're going to grow, they know they're going to kind of push out the comfort zone socially. There's other kind of factors, isn't there? And people are more likely to do it if rather than just by themselves and not talking to anybody.
Yeah, and then there's all sorts of a lot of this. What we're talking about now is all about the applied sports psychology. Yeah, so that would be one way you could choose activities for the person, and then you'd give the person sort of exercises and techniques to do at home. So a big one would be visualization. Having sort of visualization, having some sort of positive statements they can say to them. And also another thing is having a supporter. If you've got people around you who are quite supportive or encouraging and saying the right things to you, that's going to massively increase your your chances as well. I mean, like I say, the visualization is you can talk the person through the mind, visualizing, doing whatever they wanted to do, and being good at it, having a good time, all the stuff, and make it something to practice. Keeping a journal, is another good one. Keeping a journal of how your fitness is going, and stuff like that. So there's loads and loads and loads, but having a good support system. If you've got a partner and they're basically saying to you, aren't you supposed to go into the gym today? Oh, don't forget you got to go for your run. You're still going for a run, or you know what? I might even come with you. If, blah 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 blah. Or if you've got someone as well, that massively will increase your success as well, because you've almost got your little cheerleader there, your little support system, and also that's really good, not just through the good, but also through the bad. Also what I mean, but we're not bad. That's putting it wrong, but also when you're feeling not so motivated. You know what I mean? And one thing that you always one good thing that I've always, that's another reason that can that keeps me going. Is I know sometimes, even when I don't feel like doing it, just through experience, every time I felt like that, and I've gone and done some physical activity or done some exercise or whatever it is, after I felt great. And then that's happened again and again and again and again. Whenever that question pops into my mind, like, oh, I don't feel like doing it today, that other memory comes back. Yeah, but this will be a brilliant one. Because I know on all those days where I don't feel like doing it, after I've done it, I'm so glad. I'm absolutely, and when you've got a good sweat on, and you know what, I might even treat myself to a pint now. Yeah, man, I've enjoyed that. And you take me back 90 minutes before that. I'm like, I can't be asked to go tonight. Almost having a little bit of a morning with yourself. I can't deal with it. And I was like, actually, I'm going to go because I know this will be even better. Because that once you've gone through it, all them endorphins have been released, and when feel good hormones have been released, you're like, wow, yeah, I feel great. I'm so glad I've done that. You know what I mean? And that will set you up for the next time you feel like that again. Think, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. Because you know what the payoff's going to be at the end. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to do it because I know once I've done it, I'll feel great. You know what I mean? So,
No, I agree. I think, like you said, there's that payoff when you do it, and like you said, we can almost talk ourselves out of doing something before we've done it, and it's like, once you actually do it, you have that release and you feel that benefits, and then that kind of encourages you more to then do it again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't do it, like if I don't do certain things in my routine, I feel it. And then I feel a bit negative. And then sometimes if I missed it in the morning, I'll end up doing it later on just to kind of get it in. But like, it's, once you do it, it spurs you on that bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because you like I say, you're getting the results. And also, I mean, another thing that I started doing to myself from the old Nike advert is just do it. Literally, if I'm thinking, just chuck myself, literally just throw myself into it. Just do it. Just do it now. Just do it. And having that, you know what I mean, run through, it's a good thing. And another one of my sayings is that I use sometimes to keep me motivated. Is this the best use of my time right now? Is this the best use of my time right now? So if I'm just sitting there on my ass and I'm on my third program on Netflix, is this the best use of my time right now? It's probably not. I love this program, but I could probably be doing something better. Is this the best use of my time right now? That was one of my, especially when I was at uni, to get me through. If I started drifting off task, there's a little thing. Is this the best use of my time right now? Nah, it's probably not. And that, getting back on track, just do it. Just go for it, do it. But jumping back on, we've been a bit all over the street. Jumping back onto the MMA, it's probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do,
Yeah.
because you're having to keep up to date with so many different martial arts, and you've got to keep all your tools really, really, really sharp. Because what you can fall into the habit, you'll have a favourite bit of the MMA that you like, and you'll spend a lot of time on that. Take it with the Jiu-Jitsu, which is one of my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So you'll spend loads of time doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but then all your kicks and your punches and everything else kind of lose that little bit, you know what I mean? A little bit of sharpness, a little bit of snap. So you've got to keep up with everything. And it's being able to do that and balance out the nutrition. Because I think I was doing the maths, and it worked out for one MMA class, you burn, I think it was like 1,450 something calories in a class.
Jesus.
Right? And I'm thinking, God, most people only eat about 2,500, 2,000 a day. So to maintain a weight and, your like I say, the nutrition side of things, being able to eat right, have the right amount of water, etc., and the time for your techniques, it's literally that. Being into the MMA was almost like a lifestyle. It literally consumes you. Because you're having to sort of like keep up to date with so many different things, learn new things in all these different areas, learn how to put them together. And like I say, the food thing, just such a killer. The amount of food that you're having to sort of consume all the time, because you're putting in that much hard work, it's very easy to fade away, because you're normally going to be doing anything from probably hour and a half, 2 hours a day, just on your strength and conditioning. And then probably the same again with technique. And that's if you're a part-timer, like me. So I was probably, probably 4 hours a day. Like in the morning, when I was getting ready for a competition, I was going out, doing a run, come back, grab my work stuff. You had a swimming pool around the corner, go there, 64 lengths, do my mile, clothes on, protein shake, get to work, big breakfast, cup of coffee, on with my work, mid-morning break, another big breakfast, you know what I mean, From there, training in the evening, about 2.5 hours training in the evening, drop my kids off, get back, little bit, 40 minutes, weights before I go to bed, bump, gab with my missus for a little bit, get my head down, and then up in the morning all over again. I used to have Sundays off, but Sunday I used to just do a run on a Sunday. So on a Sunday, do that sort of like. In fact, I was doing that, and then I ended up taking over the Thai boxing class on a Sunday morning.
Nice.
So we used to do a run on the Sunday morning, then do the Thai boxing class. So it worked out. Monday actually used to be, I think Monday was my day off, but then it worked out because I took that Thai boxing class on the Sundays. I was doing it sort of 7 days, training 7 days a week. But on the Sunday, I won't do no weights or I just do a run and just do the, just do the Thai boxing class. But got me super fit, got me unbelievably fit. You know what I mean? I got really, really, super duper fit. Stupidly fit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
no, that's amazing that you was doing that, and I think like it's that kind of, like I said, just throwing yourself into it, and you've gone into all these different areas of martial arts. Some people like never do any martial arts or never like go, they just do like one, and you've done like loads. There's this kind of spectrum, do you know what I mean? So you got like these kind of like skills and like knowledge and experience, do you know what I mean? Through all these areas of martial arts, and I think everybody should do it. I used to do kickboxing, many years ago, and I think I kind of like wanted. So I did like kickbox training and did I think a bit of like shadow kickboxing on the side with it. But I kind of like wanted to go into like take it further, but I don't think my family wanted me to kind of go into fights and stuff like that. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed kickboxing, and I've found on myself going into fitness a lot. I don't know if I told you, but I had like PTSD you know, and I was like 13, 14. I had an accident, and fitness helped me through that. I remember running. I just started running, you know, Then I started going to the gym, started, you know, weights and all the rest of it. And it really helped me, you know, through that time. And I think fitness has so many benefits, you know, socially, physically, mentally, you know, as well as, you know, maintaining nutrition. But I think everybody should do it. I think everybody should do some sort of fitness,
Oh gosh, yeah,
something.
definitely. But as soon as people leave school, there's a massive drop off.
Mm.
There's a massive drop off, and normally it's like I say, people who probably fall into the category of probably being middle class.
Yeah.
Are the people who probably end up getting back into fitness again at a later age and then maintain it because they've got the, you know, they've got the pennies, they've got the money to be spending, like I say, for trainers, to be going to the, you know, a nice gym and stuff like that. But the majority of people sort of step off, and the two sort of like categories, like I say, people who are in a lower socioeconomic sort of like band bracket, and also women. Women massively don't exercise. You know, when we was, I mean, these stats are available from Sports England, so you can go onto the Sports England website. All this, you know, this sort of information I'm telling you about now, and you can look at all these sorts of stats. Look at ethnicity, look at age, look at the difference in you know, sexes, all this sort of info I'm giving to you now. And this is all obviously, they've obviously got it from research papers. But when we was looking at some stats, it worked out that less than, well, a very small percentage of women actually exercised for a minimum of 30 minutes a week.
Mm.
A week.
Wow.
So that's not even 10 minutes a day. So
wow.
that's, you know, they don't even exercise for 10 minutes a day. So if you, I think we were looking at it, if you had a girlfriend or whatever, yeah, you had a partner,
Yeah.
and she did more than that, right, straight away she'd be in the higher bracket of activity for females, with far fewer females keep active than what males do.
Wow. It's quite crazy, that, isn't it? I mean, when you think of it and you break it down.
Yeah. It's mad. You know, like I say, a lot of the time you think about it, it's sort of like forced upon you. You know, this sort of keeping fit, and you're running around anyway, aren't you, when you're a younger person or when you're a kid?
Yeah.
But like I say, as soon as you leave school and you get into that habit of going to work, whatever, it tends to go out the window. And I think the older you get, then, you know, the less likely you are to be maintaining any exercise. If anything, you get a few people who sort of like a bit of midlife crisis and go to about 40 or I'm gonna have done no exercise for 2 decades. About doing something. Run out and do a bit of training, but that's normally only lasts for a short while, and then they go back to how they've always kind of been.
Yeah, no, I think, like, you know, if you have a girlfriend or whatever and they're doing it, it kind of motivate them to do it. Because I remember when I've had girlfriends in the past, I've been doing things, and then they kind of, you know, springs into their mind. They're like, oh, I'll go work out with you, or I'll go to the gym. And it definitely does help, I think, if someone else is doing it, because then they start kind of thinking, oh, maybe I should probably do something as well. You know, it's kind of contagious, isn't it? You know, if you're doing something, it can sometimes make people think about what they're doing, and then they end up probably doing something, you know.
And then also, I think if they see your results, yeah, they want a bit of it as well. Other people, it could be friends or whatever, you know. So if they see you in better shape, or not even in better shape, but just in good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like better than somebody. You're doing it. You should be doing it for yourself.
For yourself, yeah.
In my opinion, anyway. You know what I mean? You should be doing it for you.
Mm.
But if somebody notices that you're living that lifestyle, you're in fairly good shape. Sometimes that can be a good motivator as well. Like, God, you're looking good. What are you up to? Oh, I'll just do a little bit of this. Oh, can I come? Like you say, they
Yeah.
want to get on board with it.
Yeah, that's it. No, exactly. I mean, to as like an overall thing, like if you could like pick, like, do you have like a favorite martial arts? Like, could you pick one if you could pick like a certain favorite?
It all depends what you want it for. I mean, for example, because obviously I've got a lot of experience. For example, Butler, yeah.
Mm.
He'd done a bit boxing in the past and this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
said to me, Buzz, what would you recommend for me to get into? And I said, well, as a starting point, I think Japanese Jiu-Jitsu says is very good. So because basically it's self-defense, yeah. And that's the thing I sort of say. Try. It's hard to unless you know quite a lot about it. There's a difference between obviously the self-defense side of stuff, doing stuff as a sport, because obviously it's stuff that you probably wouldn't do in a sport that you would do in a self-defense sort of scenario, like might poke someone in the eye, or hit someone in the throat, or do you know what I mean? Elbow them in the back, which are all areas, all stuff that you can't do.
Yeah.
In MMA, for example, so you can't poke someone in the eye in MMA. You can't. You got purposely hit them in the throat, punch them in the throat. You can't do any strikes along the spine. Along the back, which is all stuff you'd probably be able to get away with in a martial art.
Yeah.
Well, it's not in a martial art, sorry, in a self-defense, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was the one I recommended to him for purely from a self-defense, point of view. But if but if that's kind of for the layman. So if you're just a person who just wants to know a few little techniques just to keep yourself safe, I think it's something brilliant to get into. It's like I say, something I recommended for him to do. If you wanted to go a little bit further, but if he came up against somebody else, if you've done Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, if you came up against somebody else who isn't really trained, they haven't really done another martial art, just somebody in a pub is starting trouble on you, and just some brilliant. But if you came up against somebody who really knows what they're doing, yeah, it might be a different scenario. But what I've learned through doing this anyway, I was saying to Butler actually the other night, I said, I think the more knowledgeable you become, the more chilled out you become.
Yeah.
Relaxing, like I say, I've answered to you before, you've got that air of confidence. You're more like, you're not really worried because you've probably been in, scenarios like that anyway before. And plus, you know what your abilities are, what you're capable of. So you're like, I'm all right, mate. You calm down, because if you did, it's not going to be good for you. So you calm yourself down, mate. The more you know, the more you seem to be more relaxed. You've got no anxiety. You've got no, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can hold your own ground, kind of thing.
Like, you're not saying that you're going to win.
No.
Someone could clunk, you could lose, but you're not. You're not really. I don't think I would have come out that bad. Even if I lose, you'll definitely know you've been in the tangle with me. I don't think you'll want to do it again. If you can leave them with that, then when they see you about again, they'll leave you alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I messed with him. You know what? I only just got out of there because a couple of my mates coming out. No, I don't think we'll go there again.
Yeah.
So, I think you become a lot more kind of chilled out. So my point is going to be going all the way back to the Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. It's good. It's a good little self-defense system. If somebody come up to you, I tell you how good it is. We teach that to the police. So we used to Japanese Jiu-Jitsu is what you teach to the police, all the arm, all the holds and the restraints and all the stuff like that. That's all the stuff we show. Used to show police officers, show the armed forces, show some of that stuff to doormen. There are a lot of stuff that we'll show to sort of mental health nurses to hold restrained patients, stuff like that. It works. It works. I mean, works normally on the layman, but if you had, and it's very rare that you're going to come across somebody who's really good at this sort of stuff, really good at a different MMA, for example, or martial art, or wrestling, or whatever it is, and who is a trouble causer, or is whatever, who's going to have to use your Japanese jiu-jitsu against. The only reason that'd happen is if you're the one being the asshole. You know what I mean? Most of those sort of people, I mean, imagine if you've gone, it takes 10 years to get a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, 10 years. Yeah? Wow. Where if you've done karate, it takes 3 years. Yeah? You could be doing Jiu-Jitsu for 5 years and you could still be a white belt. Because it's up to the guy to say, yeah, here you go. Do you know what I mean? You don't just give them out, with other martial arts. They tend to give them out, and it's a bit more of a money maker. So every month you've got to do a belt, or every 3 months you've got to do a belt. You know what I mean? And you think it's cool because you've got a different colour belt on, and they're just there collecting the dough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. And there's a. Have you heard of Joe Rogan? You ever heard Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
He's heavily into martial arts, and he talks about it a lot on his podcast. And there's a guy he has on called Joey Diaz, and he's a Cuban guy, and he's on his podcast, and he's a comedian, and he's into jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he talks about it a lot. And he's a big guy, do you know what I mean? And he looks really well, it's really sorted him out, doing jiu-jitsu, and he talks about it, and he says he said there's something very therapeutic about jiu-jitsu. And he says you're rolling and stuff, and he says there's always going to be someone who's that bit better than you, or something like that. And he said it's very. He says you do a grapple, you do a roll, and afterwards you're thinking about it in your head. You're thinking about how that went. You're kind of self-reflecting on how you can improve. He said it's very therapeutic.
Because this is what I was saying to you when I mentioned earlier on, especially with the MMA, because you're trying to put it all together, and with the jiu-jitsu as well, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you're trying to, if someone caught you in a move, you'll go back through and think, right, how did they catch me? Right? Did I do this? Did I do that? Did I do the other? Was I not concentrating? Because the thing is as well, if you're not concentrating, if you're down there, same with sparring, if you're down there and you've had an argument with your missus and you're thinking about her or what you're having for your tea or whatever else, especially when we're in the rolling, you're going to be getting choked out. Before you know it, you'll be like, what am I having later? do you know what I mean? You've got to be fully switched on, absolutely 100% switched on. If you're not switched on, you know what I mean, before you know it, you're getting choked, or one of your limbs is being bent the wrong way, or whatever. You'll go through, because you've been studying. You've been studying, because every class in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you spar, you roll every class, yeah. And when you first get there, you probably only learn a couple of techniques. Before you know it, you're tapping. But then each week upon week, you're learning more and more, and you're not getting tapped, or it's getting harder to tap you. And then you're tapping other people. And then they're putting you up against people who are higher belts. Yeah? Because like I say, in some places, because we were on about this poor guy, because different clubs and different senseis, there is no uniformed way of grading people within the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu system. So they're the same belts, but there's no like, right, you come for a year, you're going to get your belt. Yeah? You come for 2 years, you're going to get a belt. Like I say, you could come for 5 years and you could still be wearing that same white belt around your waist. Or you could be someone who was a bit of a prodigy like BJ Penn or Eddie Bravo. Yeah?
Eddie
People
Bravo, yeah.
who got the belts in sort of like 4 years. Do you know what I mean? 4 years got to be a black belt. It was a brown belt, and he beat one of the Gracies as a brown belt. Do you know what I mean? Unheard of. Unheard of. You know, same with BJ Penn. So there are these people who can do it. I think it can take up to 10 years, sometimes longer, to get a black belt in BJJ. But a lot of it will depend on them people. They're people who they haven't got a job. So all day, guess what they're doing from dusk till dawn? Learning that, training and training and training and training. If you've got 8 hours, right, to put in every day, you can do those sort of things. Do you know what I mean? Or even 8 hours or more, yeah, you'll smash it. If you're just someone who's going there for an hour twice a week, yeah, obviously your progress is going to be a lot longer. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause that person who's doing it 8 or 10 hours a day, yeah, he's got 70 hours in a week. You've done 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done 2. So that's like, you've got to do like another, God knows how many more months worth of training before you even catch that dude.
Yeah.
Are you in?
Yeah.
So your people like your Eddie Bravo, they're people who are like putting in serious hours. It becomes you get obsessed with it. Yeah, you get obsessed with it. Start putting in them hours every day. You'll get good, and you'll get good quick, and you'll get promoted quick. You go once a week, twice a week, and you're not doing nothing else. It's going to take you a hell of a long time to be getting anywhere.
Yeah. But no, I think that's like key with anything in life, isn't it? Like the more you do something, the better you get at it.
Yeah, to a certain point. Yeah.
To a certain point.
Yeah.
No, it's
definitely.
It's definitely key, and I think like is what like random like question, but like do you read any books at all? Do you have any favorite books at all? Do you
Yeah, I'm just looking across at my book collection, and when I first was doing the MMA club, and it was like the early 2000s, so it was like it wasn't as mainstream as it is now, and not many people have sort of heard about it, and it was more referred to as cage fighting rather than mixed martial arts. And cage fighting sort of conjures up a certain kind of image and stuff like that. And that's the way in the early days it used to kind of be promoted. And also in the early days, you had a lot of people who had sort of come from maybe a background like me, where they studied loads of different martial arts, and then they're just trying to put it together. Do you know what I mean? They're trying to cherry pick the best bits from all them different bits and say, right, we'll try this. I think this is the best way. I think that's the best way. Where by the time sort of like getting into the club, anybody who's coming along now, they're learning actually mixed martial arts. So when you come to the class, you could be learning 5 techniques from 5 different martial arts, but to you it's just mixed martial arts, because you haven't had to go away and learn each one of them martial arts individually like you used to before it kind of got to where it is now. Someone's already done that. Someone's already put this together for you and served it up on a plate. So if I show you a drill, there'll be a bit of boxing. Yeah, there'll be a level change into some wrestling. There'll be a wrestling takedown. Then some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to get past your guard. Then some wrestling ground and pound. Do you know what I mean? And back into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for an arm bar or a triangle or for whatever technique I'm throwing. Do you know what I mean? So you're using so much. Might even start off with a taekwondo kick, then into a bit of boxing, then into. You haven't got to learn all them different martial arts. You just go to an MMA class, you see someone like me, and I'll be able to show you all them. Or sometimes if you're against the cage, rather than dropping into a wrestling technique, you'll do a hip throw from judo. So it's again, you had to go to a judo class to learn that. Someone's already gone and done that. In the early days, it was like, oh, I've done a bit of this, I've done a bit of that, I've done a bit of that. Right, now I'll mix that all together. What, am I allowed to use anything? Yeah, you're allowed to use anything. And it was like, right, we'll see how it plays out. And then throughout the time, it's worked as like a filter system to where anything that's kind of obsolete has been filtered out. And anything that's useful has been maintained. And then added, and then sometimes added onto or altered, or do you know what I mean? There's been some variance on the original to make it work within the MMA sort of world. For example, there's some excellent boxing techniques, but some of them you can't use because of where your head is when you're getting ready to throw punches. About you're putting your head too low, you're gonna get a knee in the face, or do you know what I mean? You can't dive and do a duck under and roll you over, so you can't do that technique. So on their own, within their own little realm, some of the stuff is brilliant, but coming across like the Thai boxing is excellent, but you can't use Thai boxing techniques in an MMA match. If you had a guy who's from using that, you're going to get destroyed. And also, some of them make you more vulnerable, because the reason they're good in that particular genre, them particular martial arts, is because I can't do a double leg and whip your legs out on you. You know what I mean? I can't catch it, do a hip throw and dump you on your head. You know? I can hit you with a knee back, a kick, a punch. I can kick you, but I can't do that. I can't do that to you. I can't get you in a knee bar and threaten to break your leg. You know?
You can't limit it.
Yeah, so in the time, but also in the Thai boxing, you ain't got to worry about them threats. Do you know what I mean? Same with the boxing. You ain't got to worry about certain techniques, because you ain't got to worry about me coming in and whipping in a nice calf kick and taking your leg out. You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to worry about, getting kneed in the face. If you come, you see people in boxing that come really low doing all the, you do that where someone in MMA is going to go smash, whip you over, take your neck and put you in a guillotine or whatever as you go in one way, catch you. And you ain't got to worry about that. So even though you're using some of them techniques, you can only use them. Like I say, you've got to either make some sort of variants, so you've got to change it to make it fit in with the MMA. So when you're doing that particular thing, you're not putting yourself at risk of another technique. Because like I say, when you're doing any of those things that you're borrowing purely in their form, then they only have to worry about someone attacking them purely in their form. A boxer only has to worry about another boxer coming towards him. A judo guy will only worry about somebody else trying to use judo throws on him. They won't think about wrestling throws. They won't think about striking with elbows, this, that, and the other. So within their own field, they're great, but sometimes, taking them techniques and trying to apply them into MMA, they're not going to work. They're not going to work. That's why people now who do it are so lucky, because someone like another coach, they've already done this homework and took all the stuff that you don't need to know, that don't work. So you just, when you come along, you just learn MMA, mixed martial arts. You ain't got to, go away and learn them individually, even though that's what you'd probably advise someone to do. If they're coming to your MMA class and say you're a good grappler, you're dead good on your wrestling, but your striking looked a bit weak, I might say to you, right, get yourself to a boxing class. To sharpen up your punches. So everything else you can do might be brilliant, but do that. Or you might have really good hands, but your kicks are poor. So I might go, right, go to a taekwondo class. So practice getting some nice, variety of kicks. So, do you know what I mean? Sometimes you do need to go away to those individual things just to tweak up. Do you know what I mean?
On those things.
Yeah, certain bits of your game. Because what the ultimate in the MMA thing is, you're kind of ready for the fight no matter where it goes.
Yes.
And when someone comes up, scoots my legs up, dumps me on my ass, I can use my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu off my back. If someone comes sort of swinging some big Thai kicks at me, I know Thai boxing. I can check the kick. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know? Sweep his leg and then apply my MMA onto him, or no matter where
Yeah.
that fight goes, with
Yeah.
a good MMA guy, good mixed martial artist, you're ready for anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can
You
hit
kind of,
anything.
it's
Yeah,
like you got a mix of all these skills.
you got your back against the wall. That's just like you being up against the cage. You're not worried. You know, he's
Yeah.
oh yeah, cage. I'm used to fighting it. I've got loads of stuff I can do fighting off my back, mate, or fighting against the wall or in a corner. He's like, oh, I just do this all the time. Do you know? No matter what
Yeah.
he's like, well, yeah, sound. Yeah, I've done
Yeah.
that. Yeah, where you took a boxer, he could be a world title, world champion boxer. You sweep his legs, get him on his ass. The boxer's no good.
Yeah.
He's on his back.
Yeah.
He can't move that footwork. He can't bob. He can't wait. He's in your world. You know what I mean? You're wrestling or you're BJJ. You can control his posture, let him tire himself out, and just do what you want.
Yeah. It's game over.
Yeah, it's game over.
It's is yeah. I think that's a really good point. It's like if just having one say you just do like taekwondo and that's it, and you go into another situation, you're not going to know really how to deal with that situation unless you kind of have those kind of other areas and experiences of like kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, MMA, these different things that kind of all come together. You can kind of improvise in that situation, I suppose.
Yeah, and also you can take the fight to where you're better. Like I said, if you had a guy in a world class or England boxer or whatever, it's like right, I'm not even going to mess around trying to stand and throw punches with him, and I'm just going to duck under his punches, grab him round the waist, and apply my wrestling.
Yeah,
and get, or you can take the fight to where you want it. You know what I mean? You'll have that ability to, if you're losing at something, right, I'm losing at this game, you can change that game. I'm losing at blackjack, let's play poker. I'm losing at kicking, let's play punching. It's like you can change it to whichever best suits you, whichever one's going to give you an advantage.
Yeah. As well, like to kind of like round up, like would you say you have any role models, whether that's like personally or like kind of people you like look up to?
Oh gosh,
that's a bit of a thingy question, but like whether that's like friends, families, members, people who are famous or in a certain field, or anyone you kind of like looked up to growing up or even now.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It can be more than one person.
Yeah. I think we all have Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali definitely got to be up there. For the martial arts, every kid around about my age growing up with Bruce Lee. He was the man. He was the man. And he had that mentality of because around about that time within the martial arts world, everybody was into this purist sort of thing. Your style, you're against my style. Da, 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 da. And with him, his sort of Jeet Kune Do sort of like philosophy was take everything from everywhere, take the best bits from every martial art, and also he wasn't like just take certain techniques, take the best bits that suit you, because another one of the philosophies was teaching for the individual. This is one of the examples you go. I'm not going to teach someone who's 6'7", and quite slim, the same techniques I want to teach someone who's 5'7" and stocky. He's got different tools. He's got a dead long reach. He's more powerful. You're gonna teach. He was sort of like, I'm gonna teach these both totally different techniques. So if I train both of these people for 10 months, end of those 10 months, they're both going to be totally different martial artists, because I've taught him what's best for his body type, and I've taught him what's best for his body type, so he can make the best use of what tools he's got, rather than one size fits all martial arts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he was a big believer in that, and also when you do the MMA, you've got to be kind of non-judgmental. You know, like you don't want to be going somewhere else and rubbishing it off, or rubbishing it off another martial art. One of my students will go, "Oh, my mate does such and such. It's rubbish." I went, "Is it? I bet there's some decent techniques in there. There's a bet if you went through what he's learned, I bet there'll be a couple of, even if it's not loads, there'll be some bits where you go, actually, that and that, all right. The rest of it might be a load of rubbish, but that and that." So, you tend to learn to not be dismissive of other styles, other techniques, other stuff like that, because everything's got, I believe, everything's got something to give. Do you know what I mean? It's even with the Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, what I told Butler to do, not everything there that you probably use in the street, not everything there you've been able to probably take over to MMA, but on the whole, I could say, yeah, it's got some decent stuff in it. Get a thumbs up. It's got some decent stuff in it. And if you're up against somebody else who didn't really know, and just some prat starting something on you, it's going to do you well. It might save your life. Might keep. So I wouldn't rubbish it off. But to put that, someone who'd learnt that against somebody who'd say done MMA, it's totally different thought. Totally different sort of thing.
Yeah. No. I completely agree. And I've got to shoot in a sec. But yeah. No, it's all right. Yeah. But no, it's all right. But no, like literally.
No, I was just about to say we're doing part 2 tomorrow.
Yeah. But literally, like it's been a pleasure, like talking about these things with you, and connecting with you, and sharing your experiences and what you're doing. And I just want to say, like, it's a pleasure to connect with you, to talk about the things we have been. And I think, like, you're doing a great job in what you're doing, and what you're about as a person. You know what I mean? And I think, like, it's really, like, really nice and positive. And you just kind of want people to get into fitness, and you want people to improve, and that's like what you're about. And
and like I say, it's not just about the physical aspects. It's a mental side of it as well. Do you know what I mean? I think there's benefits from mentally from being physically active. Definitely all day long. Like I say, from depression, anxiety, addiction. There's definitely massive benefits. And also mentally, I mean, some research came out. This is when I was trying to promote something called the Daily Mile. Actually, I created a poster for it. I was looking into that, and sort of like your cognitive ability actually goes up once you've done some physical activity. So we did it with small children and had them do some exercise, and then go into a classroom, and they had better concentration, and also was able to retain. They was also able to retain more of the information as well. So it's it's amazing stuff. I mean, from the cardio, I mean, the amount of changes that happen within your body as well. I mean, on the you heard of capillarization?
Yeah.
So you get extra capillaries growing and stuff like that. So that could be from your resistance training, or you get that a lot from doing your cardiovascular training. Do you know what I mean? So what will happen is your body will start to get extra capillaries, to increase the amount of blood supply and oxygen that you get into the muscles. Amazing stuff. And I was just on about this from a partner. One of the things is you get older, your lung capacity gets smaller. So one good way that we can compensate that is by trying to maintain as much muscle mass as possible in your older age. Because from about 50, 55, it's going to start to go. You're going to start to lose the amount of muscle. You can still maintain your strength, but you're going to lose the amount of, well, the majority of people do, they lose the amount of active tissue that they've got, the amount of muscle mass.
Yeah.
And why it's then important to try and maintain it is because of it actually stores oxygen. So your muscles are storing oxygen. And with you having lower lung capacity, lower volume, basically it's another way of storing oxygen with your system and maintaining a higher than normal, probably for your age group, energy level naturally without taking any medication, just by you living a fairly good lifestyle.
Yeah.
I could talk all day, you know.
But no, it's but no, it's I really, I think it's really good, to talk about these things, and it kind of brings it into like people's awareness, and hopefully through them like listening to this and watching this, it'll kind of inspire, motivate people to get up, go for a run and just get into exercise and just get into it. And I think you provide a lot of beneficial, positive, information on it. But where can people? Are you on social media at all? Are you on Instagram?
So I've got a Facebook page, FitCliff. At FitCliff. And the email, that's my email as well, fitcliff@gmail.com. And I've also got my old MMA page up, Great White MMA.
Nice.
So on there, even though I haven't posted a note for a while, like I said, I've been I've been at uni for the last 4 years. My head down. I've only just started to reconnect on, get back onto social media. Say from when I finish, say from the end of July, you'll start to see I've been posting stuff. Up until then, there's probably been absolutely nothing.
That's fine.
Too busy getting knowledge. Knowledge.
Yeah. No, it's great, and I'll put that in the description for you, and
fantastic.
I'll share on my side as well.
Nice one, and I'll have to try and find you. I'll have to try and find the find the podcast. So,
I'll send it you.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, and well, great. You've got work soon. I've got some stuff to do as well, believe it or not.
It's all good. No, but it's good chatting to you. It's good.
I'm gonna get told off to skiving too long.
No, it's all good.
Well, hopefully we'll do it again in the future. But I've really enjoyed today.
No, of course, mate. Yeah, you too. It's been really good.
All right. I don't know how to. All right, what do I do? Just press leave.
It's all good. I can pause it here. I can stop here.